Hi friends, welcome to my pad here in Ubud. Today's video, it's been a couple of seconds since I made a video, but I think it's important to keep going. And I want to thank everybody who's been watching, and thanks to everyone who sends in super thanks and all the great new members of the Lessons site, one of the most popular programs right now, the lifetime membership. Guys are opting to join for life, which is great. It's an honor for me. Anyway, with that being the case, I just want to, say one thing again, and that's to have a new way of thinking in 2025. Now, this is nothing new for me, but it's going to help you if you've been frustrated, if you've been thinking you're not making any progress in your drumming, or if you're tired of what you play and can't seem to break out of plateaus and stuff like that. So those are all very serious issues, actually, and ones that need to be talked about, or else, how are you going to overcome them? So here's the formula, the key to success for overcoming these issues, and that is embrace the suck. If you are not doing something at great speed, you're having difficulty doing something, if you suck at something, basically, you are in a good position, because that means you're working on things that you don't know, that you don't have mastered yet. If we take the reverse case, where you feel, yeah, comfortable, man, and you're like jamming and having a good old time, and playing all the licks that you want to do and fast, and that means you are spinning your wheels. You're getting nowhere, okay? You have to embrace errors. You have to embrace difficulties. You have to embrace the periods where you're growing and you feel like you cannot do something, because in reality you are doing something. You are growing, and extremely fast, okay? If you look at my practice system from a few videos back, you're going to know how to handle, right, all your practicing, how to make this a part of your life. Now, the reason I'm doing this video, because I've had, some people say, oh, I'm not advancing and I feel like I want to quit drumming, or it's too hard, and I'm not at the place where I want to be. I'm in such age. I don't know if I can ever, reach a level that I want to reach. Here's the thing. I feel exactly the same way. You're never going to be at the level you're at, okay? I saw today on YouTube, some drummer, some popular guy, playing so fast, all these breaks and blah, 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 so fast. You know the type of guy, right? And then a Latin piece comes up and he steps all over himself, couldn't function at all, okay, at all. Absolute zero, no phrasing, no, nothing, not happening at all. But he could do a lot of right hand, right foot. Man, what a waste of life. What a complete waste of life and time. If you're playing things you already know, that's not the way to go. Now, another reason you should think about this is because I see a great chasm in musical skills as opposed to like physical drum set skills. You put a lot of these guys with music in different situations. They're so loud, they cannot function at softer volumes. They're playing way too loud. The mix between the drums are totally off. Bass drum too soft, snare drum super loud, or bass drum too loud and snare drum and hi-hat too soft. No regards to musicality dynamics-wise or stylistically. So that's why I think, to adjust your mind to the concept of embrace the suck Embrace the period that you're in. When you're having difficulties, that's the time to buckle down and kick some butt. Get yourself organized. And another point that's very important, the delay of gratification. The delay of gratification is going to make a huge, huge difference in your progress, because the more you're able to stick through the difficult periods where you're, not having a great time, the more you're able to push that and be organized and give your muscles a chance to learn the new material, the better you're going to be in the medium term and long term. Short term, you cannot think on those levels if you're learning a massive amount of material, okay? The short-term goals should be to every day sit down on the drums, and you have the blessing of sitting down on drums and practicing. That is a blessing every day. That's a super short-term goal, like one day at a time, right? You have your weekly goals and your monthly goals and everything else, but super short term, that's what you should adopt, okay? Now, there's always going to be these periods. There are always going to be these periods you cannot escape, okay? There is no escape. So the sooner you get used to adopting the suck, the better off you're going to be. In fact, that's exactly where you want to be. You don't want to be in performance mode while you're practicing, okay? You don't want to be in performance mode like you're performing somewhere when you're practicing. Practice is practice, and it should be used to the maximum effect on things you don't know, okay? Now, it's hard to get your mind around, I know, because it can be super frustrating. But the thing to remember is that happens to all of us, no matter who you are. I've seen the greatest players in the world, right? And you put them in a different setting of what they're used to, and it's just not happening. It takes research, it takes almost ethnomusicological skills to research music, to let that vocabulary, a new vocabulary into your playing and stuff like that. So no matter who you are, there's always going to be a time of having to slow down and delay the gratification of performance. Performance is performance. Now, when we're talking about performance, you have to keep in mind musical skills, which is a totally different thing than technical and physical skills. Musical skills are a whole other set of things that you have to study, and you do that by listening, transcribing, playing music, whether it's play-alongs, recording yourself, or playing with people ideally better than you. I mean, the double-sided sword is playing with people that are better than you, because the problem is they're not going to enjoy it. They always seek to have someone on the equal level. If you're normally playing with someone a little better than you, you are lucky, and you shouldn't feel bad, even if you receive criticism, because you're going to get it. You're going to get criticism. Embrace the suck. Embrace the delay of gratification. Let the people say what they're going to say to you. Open yourself to not criticism, but constructive thoughts by other players. I was lucky enough to have great teachers around me, and they told me everything they thought, man. No holds barred, right? And that was a great thing for me. And on occasion, maybe it stung a little bit, on occasion, but I was fortunate enough to always have the attitude of, okay, this is for my own benefit, The period of sucking is for your own benefit. Don't give that up, okay? Don't let yourself don't get down on yourself because of these periods, all right? Now, in music, when you're in performance, it can be doubly hurtful, because you're putting your soul into something. When you're alone in a room, that's one thing, practicing. Nobody's there to judge you, only yourself. But when you're actually performing music, especially if there's an audience, and you take a drum solo or whatever, and you mess it up, you don't get it to the level where you wanted it, the tension and the release wasn't exactly that. Man, that's the rough part. Not, being in the practice room and not being where you want to be. And, the real rub is playing your heart out in a performance and not having it go the way you want. Okay? Now, think about this. That is also a blessing in disguise. Because what happens? Every hour you spend on stage is like 10 hours in the practice room. Okay? Always remember that. Every hour you spend on stage is like 10 hours in the practice room. So if you're lucky enough to be performing in front of people, a drum solo that you worked on to get to express yourself, man, that's a blessing. That's amazing. That's awesome. That's what you should concentrate on. It doesn't go the way you want. Okay, you know how many times that's happened to me? Happens to everybody. Everybody. I don't care who you're talking about. I've talked to great players, man. Great players. I thought a solo was absolutely amazing that they just played, and they confessed to me, they're like, oh man, I suck, man. I couldn't do what I wanted to do, and it went wrong, and then I had to ditch that idea and go another way. And it happens to everybody. That's just the nature of art. Now, that being said, another skill you have to develop that takes time is the ability to turn a mistake into music, right? Turn a mistake into music. That takes a lot of improvisational skills. Improvising should be one of your top level priorities as far as playing goes. Because if you're robotically playing a solo, and we've all seen those guys that play the same solo night after night after night, the same solo, you can predict which part is coming up next. Man, that where's the fun in that? There's no risk involved, there's no expression, you're just robotically repeating things that you've worked out. Okay? Always keep your mental sanity when you approach the drum set. That's why I so strongly recommend having a practice system. If you don't have a practice system, go back and watch the video about how to practice. If you're not using that method or something, very similar. I mean, this method is the most advanced concepts in learning are involved in this method. So I would just adapt this method. Ditch whatever you're using. I've heard from guys who are writing everything down and they did, and you need to do that, man. You don't need to form sentences and write a whole paragraph about what you did. You have a system that you follow, my practice system, and you eliminate all that writing time. 5 minutes of writing down, 10 minutes, and then next hour, 15, 20, but next thing you know, a whole hour went by, you're making notes, okay? Wasted a whole hour of playing time. Why does this matter? Some people don't have a kit at home. They have to go to a practice studio, which they rent, which in New York, I had with Cliff Allman and Keith Carlock and Robbie Amin. Who else was in there? And some great players it was 15 of us, and there was a big bulletin board, and you had to put your name in the schedule, and you had a 2-hour slot, man. That's all you had. I had to get on the train from my pad, go to, the studio was right next to the Late Show theater, David Letterman theater, go under in the basement, and you had a 2-hour slot 3 times a week. That's it, right? That's it. You had to make the most out of those 2 hours. The rest of the time, at home working on musicality or hand stuff or whatever. Okay? So that's why you need to know all these things. Delay of gratification is very interesting because what it does is in music and drumming, what it does, it starts to bleed over into other areas of your life. Like, for example, food, right? Or if you have a problem with the chocolate or whatever, you want to eat chocolate all the time, delaying that, eventually that urge goes away, or it becomes a lot more calm. And you learn that discipline through drumming, patience. Delay of gratification is something that will affect the rest of your life because of drumming. The discipline that you create in drumming starts to spill over into other parts of your life. All right? So, what else can I say about that? Except that I would like you to really consider these things in the coming year. And especially if you're a member of the lesson site, because there's just so much material on there. There's just a massive amount of material. And to absorb all that stuff, you're going to need a lot of patience, okay? And an awareness of what it takes to absorb that, to become the player you want to be, all right? It's like Jedi Master stuff, man. It's not a joke. It's not, in a couple of months you'll be burning. It's not instant gratification. I know this culture now that we have of instant gratification goes totally against the grain of what drumming is about. There's no such thing in drumming. There's no shortcuts. There's no way to increase your speed with one hack, of your finger technique or whatever. I see all these algorithm chasers, on YouTube with all these titles and things that the YouTube tells them to do. Oh, your titles are so important. And your thumbnails, make a face like this or for your thumbnail so people will click. I don't care. I'm never going to say, subscribe to my channel and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I'm not going to chase the algorithm. The material should be reaching people who truly want to hear about it, right? I lost a subscriber the other day because of a travel video I put around in Bali, and I'm wondering what's that guy? What is somebody like that, thinking when they subscribe to a channel like this, or they have, a ton of free information put on a silver platter, It's baffling to me. Now, of course, I'm a little older. I'm from a generation where we didn't have the internet. Okay, probably one of the last generations that was pre-internet, which is really amazing, actually. And the level of concentration, I think, of people in general was much higher without the internet. The attention span, not level of concentration, attention span. So attention span is directly tied into delay of gratification, because if you can't pay attention like for 15 minutes at a time, delay the gratification of doing something you want to do, like stick flips or whatever the heck you want to do. Drumming is going to be it's going to take you a long time. If you cannot delay the gratification of things that are more superficial or whatever, or that people are going to like you for and stuff like that, it's going to be real tough. Okay, which brings me to just one final issue: the need of acceptance. You're never going to be a normal person if you're like an artist of any kind. You're always going to be a little bit outsider. Okay? You're never going to be completely understood by the average human being. Now, in some cultures, like for example in Bali, we had a talk about this a few videos back. The culture in Bali is the artist had like a special status in the community, which is like a necessity of the community. And he was supported by the community to provide all these rituals and ceremonies that they have to do and stuff like that, which is, you know, in a way parallel to what we have, except now we are totally devalued unless you're, you know, doing music that appeals to school kids. So now I'm not saying that that's like that all the time. In jazz, there's a great jazz audience that appreciates everything I do, no matter what part of the world I go, and I appreciate them very much. But you're never going to be like a gazillionaire, like some pop star guy, Bruno Mars or whatever it is. So you shouldn't despair about that. You know, you have to accept the situation, the reality, and gain, let's say, satisfaction from your art. And the direct route to that is, of course, the things that I'm mentioning here. There will come a day where you feel happy, you feel satisfied. Like, all right now, I'm happy with the way I play. There are things that I'm working on all the time that I wish could be better, and you know, that's always going to happen. So you get used to it. You know, one gets used to it. That's it. Okay, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you have a few thoughts about it, and I'd love to hear from you, as always, down in the comments. So yeah, that's it. Remember, you can be a lifetime member of the lesson site now for $500, lifetime membership. The regular membership is going up to $300 next year, so if you're not a member yet, $200, and you're in for the entire year. The elite program is totally happening as well. $1,900, 3 hours a day for 7 days. You can break up the 7 days instead of a whole week. You can do once a month or once a week, whatever you feel like it. And you have a 2-year membership to the lesson site. Okay, all these programs are there explained on the lesson site, and they're going to be below in the description of the video. Okay, remember, we have Malta Drummers Intensive Day going on. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in the next video. Okay, friends, peace out. Hi, friends. I'm here to tell you about an exciting new program I have on my lesson site. It's called the Elite Program. In this program, you're going to be working with me very, very closely while I guide you through the entire site. The Elite Program. Why do I call it that? Because I'm searching for the most dedicated people to study this material. If you want to be a professional drummer, you're going to have to change your life. You're going to have to put drums ahead of everything. And I'm here to make sure that that decision is something that's going to benefit your life in the most positive way it can. Some websites have guest artists that come in and show you some stuff for about an hour, and then they leave and you never hear from them again. You're stuck with the guys on the site that may or may not have much experience at all. In this program, you're going to be working with me directly, 3 hours a day for an entire week online, okay? We're going to be having conference online, video conference, 3 hours a day for a week. In this week, I'm going to guide you through everything, prepare you. I'm going to watch you play. I'm going to watch you practice. We're going to work together on things in the moment, okay, which is very important. Now, why the price, you may ask? Well, an online video session with me usually costs $270 for 2 hours. A private lesson with me in New York costs $100 an hour. A lot of guys charge a lot more than $100, maybe $200, $300 an hour. My price is $100 an hour. I think that's fair. So if you take that many hours with me, okay, 7 times 3, that's 21, that's $2,100. The price of the course is $1,900. So you're already saving $400 by doing it this way. $400 savings. Plus, you have the full year membership to the site with email support, Skype support, and everything else. This unique study situation has been brought about by the technology we enjoy today. Before, you would have had to travel to New York, hang out with me, come to my house, you know, have all those expenses of going to New York, which many guys have done. But now we can do things in a much more, let's say, efficient basis, more economical, and a way that you can be constantly in touch, not only having me in New York there while you're there. Okay, so this is, I think, an amazing opportunity to study. I've taught at some of the best drumming institutions in the world. That's not something that everybody can say. And I have all that knowledge right here waiting for you. If you're serious about your drumming, the lesson site is there. And I'm there as well, ready to make sure you get the most out of the drumming experience and having drums in your life. Okay? I hope you will check out the Elite program. The most innovative curriculum there is comes from having the experience from teaching all over the world, drummers at every level from the highest drumming cultures on the planet. What you're going to need to participate is a way to interact with me online. You need to have a drum set up with your camera, your phone, or whatever. It has to sound halfway decent, and a good Wi-Fi connection so we have uninterrupted streaming. Now, as far as the price goes, if you use PayPal, you can break up the payments. PayPal offers you a variety of ways you can pay. You can use your credit card, and if you don't have access to those things, just write me and we'll figure out a way. But this is a very important program and I think you're gonna love it. It's not a common opportunity to study drums, so I hope you'll take it and make the best of it. All right, folks, see you on the Elite program. Peace.